In this episode, I'm going to talk about more of the reusable widget. I'll start off by showing a more complicated use of the reusable IsWidget. Then I'll talk about the interaction with the child widget using a setter, and I'll prevent the instantiation until needed of the child widgets or elements in the widget. Okay, so to get started, I'm going to go to my IDE. And in the previous episode, I created a My Widget, which is a simple IsWidget. So I went in and looked at my widget here, which implements IsWidget. This implementation says I need to provide IsWidget with the return of a widget. And this is used when the widget is attached to the document. Okay, so what I want to do is change the name here. And to do that, I'm going to start by adding set name. So I'm going to make it public so I can access it from the external part of this class or this object. And I'm going to add a setter or an accessor that is a setter. So let's go public void set name. And I'm going to make it the parameter name and finish with the body there. And then I want to make this a field, and I'll show you why in a minute here. Now, just to keep in mind, there's more than one way to do this, and I'm just showing you options that you can use in your development process. And I'm going to show you how I can prevent the instantiation of this until needed, because one, the widget could be already attached, and then I want to change the name. And how would I do that? That's what I want to prevent instantiation or reinstantiating it because I want to change the name, and this is in the constructor of this HTML. So I only want to construct this once. This will prevent a little bit of the heaviness that goes on in constructing of this widget, especially if you have lots of widgets. Okay, but that's not the only way. So keep that in mind. I'll provide more in the series to come. Okay, so this name equals name. And then I'm going to construct this as a field by going Command 1 to bring up the auto assist. And I could hover over it too, I think, and it'll bring it up. Oh, nope, I got to go over to the plus here, or the X, and create field. Okay, so it creates a field. Okay, I don't like where the field placements are, so I'm just going to hoist them up above the constructor. I did that in the previous episode without thinking, and I just wanted to show an example at that point of time. So I just hoisted the fields up above the constructor. Okay, so I've set the name, and then I want to provide the name here, so I'm going to go name, and you can see if it's already constructed, this name reference is going to be null to start with, so I'll put there to make it simple. I'll initialize it with there. I don't have to, but I want to do that in this episode. Okay, so this may be better to initialize the string some point later in the process, but in this case, I'll just put it there just so you can see that I can change this reference and it's not empty. So let's run the project. Let's save this widget and then run it and debug and see where we're at. Okay, so project. I'm going to go up to the debug button up here. Debug as project. And this should load up my debugger or start a debugging instance with an embedded Jetty server because I created the shortcut in the previous episode. Oh, I've got something running. Well, I'll show you what the problem is here. It's already running, so I've been debugging, so I need to stop the process. So I'm going to go to the debug up here, debug perspective, and just stop the previous process. And I'll show you how to restart it. And I'll stop the browser. Okay, go back, and then I'm going to go to the debug and click on project. That is the shortcut to start up and launch the debugging process. And here it is. It copies the resources to the web app, and then it'll provide me a link. And this initializes, well, Chrome says, hey, I shut down. But at any rate, it starts up and does a compile, and there we go. Hello there. I want it to say, hello, Brandon. And I want to change that with a widget in the entry point that says change, and just change this to my name. Okay, so how would I do that? I'll go back to the browser, go back to the IDE and go to the entry point. Here I'm going to add a button. So let's go text button, a GXT button. Button equals new text button. And I'll say change name. And then I need to import this. I'll go over to the X and click on import text button. Okay, so I'm going to go button.add select handler. This, I'll tell you what this does in a second. Let's complete it. I'll go new, control space, and this brings up auto assist. And then I'm going to select the type that it provides for me because it gives me what it wants. This is the type it wants, so select handler. And then I'm going to go Command-Shift-O for auto import this time. And then I'm going to remove the space because it's not needed. Okay, so what happens here is when the button is pressed, it will fire, delegate, or call this selection handler on select method. And then I could say, do something here with the event. Okay, so what I want to do there is go mywidget.setName, and I'm going to say Brandon. I could get my name from a text field and then pass it on, but in this case, I just want to show the simple effect. So then I need to add the button to the document. I want to go root panel.get.add button. This will add the button to the body of the document. Now, I want to do auto format here. Okay, so to cover this, my widget gets added to the document, and then the text button gets added to the document. Now, this is not a best practice, but I want to show you without complicating it with a layout here. I want to show you the interaction between, okay, so this is my widget, a child widget of the document. Okay, so then I want to change the name of it, and I'm in a different area, so this is just a child in this case. Okay, so then I'm going to click on my widget. And what I want to do here is, okay, I want to change the name. So let's say I'm going to put a getter here, get message. And in this case, I want to create the get message with, let's say, public, or this could be private in this case because it's only needs to be accessible in this library or this class. And I'm going to return a string. And this is going to be get message and method body, and I want to return what I just removed there, and that will be hello plus name or string concatenation there. Oh, I need to put return, not returned. So that will get the message and set the name, but I'm doing it after it's attached. So that means it may not be attached, and I could set the name. So I could set the name to the widget before I add it to the document. But in this case, I've already attached it, and I'm clicking on a button up here. Okay, let's reload that. Let's see if I saved the button. Okay, I didn't save the button. So let's save these and go back, reload it. It'll do an incremental compile and add me a button. Well, I want to press this button and change it, and it's already attached. So let's go back, my widget. And I don't want to reinstantiate it. I want to get the message. Well, the reason why I said get message here is, okay, let's say if widget is not equal to null, then I want to say widget.setHTML, and I want to get the message again. In this case, the reference to the name has been updated here, and now I'm getting the message. Let's save that. Let's go try it. Reload, do an incremental compile, and then change name. And that was pretty easy. So I was able to change it after the fact, and this doesn't create a heavy instantiation process. And I'll cover more ways to do this in the next episodes to come. But this is one of the ways to change the content of the child widgets within the IsWidget after it's been attached to the DOM, and avoids reinstantiating this widget. So this widget is cached after it's attached, and you could remove it from the parent and attach it again, and you won't get all this heavy action. Let's say you had a grid in here with lots of different filters. Well, you prevent it from being used until absolutely needed. As the IsWidget calls it, it'll construct it the first time. So that concludes this episode in working with the IsWidget in greater detail. Thanks for watching today. Follow me for more tips and tricks on GXT, and I'll catch you later.